We're counting down the top tips of 2021, and for my intro to this series and the full list of top tips, just click over to DailySales.Tips/best of 2021. Number 6 is actually one of my own, and I'll call out two things in this. The first is that when I was referring to Dave Schwartz and his bullseye, I said dashboard. So imagine that I said bullseye when I say dashboard, and this will make a whole lot more sense. Also, the Sales Hacker presentation has now happened, and I've updated the links on the tip page to point directly to the recording and resources I shared rather than to register. Here it is. You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Here we are over 2 weeks into the new year, and I just realized that I haven't shared a tip of my own yet, and I can't let Jeff Bajorek have all the fun. So today, I'm going to try to take some pretty big ideas and themes and boil all of that down for you. I want to talk about inputs, habits, and consistency. Hopefully you got a chance to listen to my interview with Stephen Chase on the Sales Success Stories podcast, or you at least heard the core concept in tip 724 around detaching yourself from outcomes. You'll be able to stay a lot more sane this year and keep your mindset in check if you focus on the inputs. Focus on the things you can directly control. Dave Schwartz, in his mental health-focused presentation at the Sales Success Summit last year, talked about it as a dashboard and recognizing that you can only directly control what's in that little red bullseye in the middle. You might be able to influence the next ring or two out from there, but that's it. Most of the other things that are going to happen in your world are outside of your direct or even indirect control. So focus on what you can control. The inputs. And the way I think about this, and I try to translate those inputs into habits. Jack Wilson and I talked about this in some detail last week in a new webinar series called All Things Sales Success that we kicked off on the Sales Experts channel. If you'll click over to dailysales.tips/729, I'll have links to all these things that I'm mentioning if you want to go deeper. Jack and I are big fans of a concept we together call minimum viable habits. The idea is to break your goals down into essentially their smallest components, those inputs, and figure out what you need to do consistently each and every day to give yourself the best chance of achieving them. These are your minimum viable habits. In our session, we also talked about anchor habits, and I also recommended that you plan to fail and know what you're going to do when something happens and keeps you from getting your habits done one day, because it's going to happen. Life is going to happen. Something is going to test your resolve. So have a plan for what you're going to do, because I'm yet to find anyone who's had a perfect year, who's executed perfectly and never missed a day. But at the end of the day, the name of the game is consistency. You are what you consistently do. So what are you committing to? What are you going to do consistently to control your inputs and put yourself in the best position to be successful this year? One last resource I'll mention to you is one that hasn't happened yet. I'm going to dig deep into my own personal productivity process again with Sales Hacker on January 26th in an event they're calling Beyond Quota. This is my superpower, and I'm excited to share it with everyone again and answer your questions around it. Again, I'll have links to everything for you, including the registration link for that Beyond Quota session at dailysales.tips/729. Once you've checked that out and joined the listener list if you're not already getting my weekly emails, be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.